The purpose of the Stain Center is to support faculty, students, and community-based organizations in the creation of educational partnerships that allow students to get involved in service learning through their coursework.
With service learning, the notion is that you are connecting what they're learning to the content of the class, and so they're able to take whatever content they're getting in the class and put that into practice.
We typically tend to work with grassroots community-based organizations that are underserved or work in underserved communities. In addition to that, we look for organizations that could use the resources that the university has, thus creating mutually beneficial relationships for the university, the students, as well as the community partners.
We are an institutional bridge. We link up the different core missions of the university itself, principally the teaching mission and the service mission. We bring both to life in ways that they don't come together in other places in the university.
The courses we support range widely throughout the university. We support courses in nursing, where students work at the community level doing health screenings for communities that are underserved in healthcare. We have courses in geography where students are on the streets documenting plot by plot what's going on in changes in neighborhoods that are being impacted by gentrification. We have courses in money and banking that students are involved in tax assistance and financial literacy. We have courses in business ethics and political science that focus on fair trade issues.
We really want students to see communities as intellectual spaces that not only they can learn from, but they can also learn with. And hopefully it creates in our students the determination to engage themselves in social justice beyond the classroom and into their own lives. There's tons of knowledge that exists in the communities that we work with, and it's our hope that students can take this opportunity to really learn from those and deepen their educational experience here at DePaul University.
The community conduct and safety tips may seem like common sense, but you want to make certain that you review the document and keep them in your mind as you're doing service at your site throughout the quarter. Here at the Stain Center, we encourage you to take public transportation to and from your sites. As with any public transportation adventure, you want to make certain that you plan your trip ahead of time, that you're conscious of any landmarks. Traveling to and from your site may involve traveling to a neighborhood that you're unfamiliar with, but don't be afraid. As with any other urban experience, you want to be aware of your surroundings. You want to travel in groups. You don't want to attract any negative behavior in the way of conspicuous clothing or disrespectful behavior. But at the same token, don't be be open to positive energy and be polite. At your site, you want to make certain that you conduct yourself professionally. So be courteous of the staff and the clients at the site. If for whatever reason you can't make it to the site, you want to make certain that you notify them with enough time. If you ever have any issues, you want to be certain to contact your service learning coordinator and/or your instructor to remove yourself from the situation. But also you may be asked to do a task outside of your routine, and be open to that, as long as it's within reason. The guidelines for service learners outlines your rights and responsibilities at your service site as an extension of the DePaul University classroom. Therefore, it's important to obey all local laws as well as the rules and regulations found within the student handbook. We ask that you remember you're a guest and a representative of DePaul University at your service site for 10 weeks, and that the relationship will exist long after you're gone. So it's important that you conduct yourself in a professional and respectful manner. The Stain Center's guidelines exist to ensure that you have a safe experience, but also to remind you that you can be terminated with cause, but not without warning first. This document serves as a contract between you, the instructor, and the Stain Center.
The first step in the placement process is to review the information about the organization selected for your site. You'll want to look at our site information grid, which will be included in your syllabus or as a handout from your instructor. After reviewing the site information grid, you may have visits from representatives from each organization. At that time, you can ask them more questions. We have to place every site that we have available for the class, so we ask you to be flexible. Your peer schedules may be more rigid than yours, so if you're available for 1 or 2 more sites, please keep an open mind when doing your selection.
Okay, so there are 2 spots open for rest. Whose choice is that?
Service learning coordinators facilitate the actual placement process. They'll list each organization on the board and the corresponding number of slots available for each. They'll go through one at a time and take volunteers for each organization. If there is a site for which there are less spaces than available volunteers, we will have a lottery and the service learning coordinators will choose names at random to serve there. So again, be flexible. All students will be placed at all organizations before the end of the class meeting.
So if you could go ahead and please finish filling out the relevant forms legibly front and back.
The last step of the placement process is to fill out the two-sided blue sheet that you've been given. One side is the student information sheet, where it's important to note your site and orientation time as well as your DePaul ID number. The other side is another copy of the guidelines for service learners. We ask you to sign this copy and it will be collected by a service learning coordinator or a stay-in staff person.
And then we will have the site representatives come back in and you can meet with your site rep, discuss your orientation. Be sure to put on the top of your student information sheet which site you'll be doing your service at. And please make sure to always respond to your service learning coordinator when they contact you.
Orientation is an opportunity for the student to go to the site and learn a little bit more about the organization before they serve. The student learns about the mission and the purpose of the organization, but it's also a way for a student to figure out how the site operates so that they may be able to initiate different projects and programs. A student will set up orientation either during the placement in class with their site representative, or they will have the orientation day and time set on the site information grid. If neither one of those options are available, students will contact their service learning coordinator and they'll be able to match your availability with the site's availability and therefore set up your orientation. Service learning coordinators will assist you in keeping track of your hours, verifying your service learning hours, addressing any scheduling issues that you might have with the site or any issues that pertain to the course and/or the site. Your service learning coordinator will also initiate a reflection session with you, and then at the end of the quarter they'll help you close up the quarter by giving you directions on what to do with your timesheets, on more opportunities to serve after the quarter ends, and to answer any last questions that you might have regarding your service.
We'd like you to think about your experiences on the border and how they affect your understanding of what a just global society would be like.
Reflection is the intentional consideration of a service experience in light of particular course objectives in the classroom. People reflect every day on everything that they experience, from their personal life to work to faith, amongst other things. But reflection in the service learning context here at DePaul allows a student to connect their coursework and the theories and the concepts they learn to the community. It also allows them to compare and contrast their expectations when they first came into the community and to what they've actually experienced. And it also allows students to share and observe together the local, national, and global issues that occur in the community.
Reflection in service learning is important because it really ties together all the aspects of what makes service learning. Instead of just going into a community because you need volunteer hours or you need to feel like you need to better yourself, really reflection shows how it's a reciprocal relationship and how you can gain as much from the community as you feel that you're giving to them. And then also to tie it into the coursework, because the coursework is definitely important to the academic experience, and just learning how what you're doing there connects to what you're learning in a textbook or from a lecture.
Having this kind of initiative, first of all, is important for DePaul because it really, again, comes back to the mission of the university and trying to really pay attention to marginalized communities and disenfranchised individuals. And I think as we look at the country and the world at large, more and more we see these divisions taking place. And so this is one kind of small way that students can experience and learn about some of those divisions, it gives them a chance to kind of again reflect on what their place is within that world and what their responsibility may be to potential social change.